Do you count calories? Do you obsess over calories, how much you eat? When you gain weight, you maybe have a mental breakdown. You look at the mirror and you feel like you have so many imperfections. A pimple pops up on your skin and you throw a tantrum. If those things apply to you, you might be third physics. That is the topic for today. Now, before we go, I want to just say one thing. 1,000 subscribers, guys. Thank you. Thank you for the support. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the comments. We have done something really, really good, objectively good. Again, it took us 6 months to get there. Okay, and as I said, we will dominate and we are only gonna go higher. That's just how it goes. So together we will do it. Thanks for being part of the Rusted community and keep up the grind. Anyway, so back to the video. Third physics. So let's just start with the basics. Of course, it's a painful position, right? Because and someone might say, well, all of them are painful. No, some probably more than others. But when it comes to physics, physics is all around us. It's probably the most basic human placement. Like sensuality, finances, body, diet, food, physical touch, even your approach to work, your approach to violence, your approach to sex, your approach to um, your clothes, like what you wear, what color, your the organization of your room, the organization of your environment, everything falls under physics. So when it is in a painful placement, it causes problems, right? So you have an individual who obviously has process physics. It's process, right? So they might um, enjoy talking about and enjoy really processing, even turbo processing, like even being hyper focused on that. And people have an impression of their physics as a placement that's very open. And I would say yes, there is an element of openness, but it's unstable. I would say, unlike the four physics, which really has no shame of it about it and really accepts advice and guidance. With the third one, it's mixed. There's almost this, yes, they might kind of want your help at times, but often they are quite aggressive with it. They might reject it. They might kind of be pedantic, be obsessive. They might know what they want and be so rigid in that they will not move. So that also can happen, which is why some people confuse their physics with first physics, because the obsession of it, But again, it's way different. So kind of remember that. So this kind of obsessiveness can manifest in many different ways, right? I would say again, person who pays a lot of attention to their physical environment. Their physics has an issue dealing with chaotic environments, kind of environments that are now well kept and structured environments. Again, messy environments. They can experience genuine inner turmoil because of that, because there's chaos, because things are not when they should be, especially if the third physics individual has a certain vision of how they want those things to be, right? And even sexual contact can be quite painful. Again, they might feel ashamed. There's a bit of an issue with nakedness. They have a hard time accepting the bodily functions and all the nastiness that comes with it. To them, it's hard, man. It makes them cringe. Even probably their physics people will be watching this video and they will be cringing, even just thinking about that. So it's hard for them, to kind of be exposed and enjoy the moment, because to really embrace that, you need to embrace sensuality, you need to embrace physicality as the purest form, so that's kind of how it goes, and they struggle with that. So turning off the light, no one can see, so they cannot see them or something, their imperfections, that can happen. And overall, often aversion to being touched, aversion to certain types of touch, almost a sensorical sensitivity. They're described often as people who they really hate violence. They might not be very tolerant of violence, scale of violence, not know how to deal with violence. That's also something that they have issue with. Even this sensorical sensitivity goes to the fact that they can watch things, they can watch violence on a screen or other stuff, and they can feel almost like they can feel the pain. They can feel almost this pain of this other individual on the screen, this physical pain. So it makes them so uncomfortable, and this is one of the traits that they can kind of manifest. And with tear physics, it's funny, and more like diet, food. They want to be moderate in their food. They, in more obsessive cases, imagine a bodybuilder who has body dysmorphia in an extreme case, so obsessed about how he looks, trying to correct his imperfections, as he calls it, obsesses about his diet, counts every single calorie, and if he misses, there's this almost underlying neurosis around this third placement. Always there's this driving neurosis and anxiety that kind of makes them act that way. That's how you know it's not just focus, it's anxiety, it's turmoil, right? So you'll see in those bodybuilders again, people who see a pimple pop out and they start having a mental breakdown and spend hours trying to cover the hours just to look perfect. Again, they can put so much pressure on themselves. They can put so much importance on those things, but it is driven. So don't confuse it with first physics, because yes, first physics does care, but at the end of the day, first physics is result oriented and completely shameless in that realm. Tier physics might put so much stock on that and so much importance, but it's all driven by anxiety. It's all driven by neurosis. That's different. And so again, tier physics might be more prone to workaholism, as they see, again, acquiring more and more and more and more, trying to make sure that they feel safe. So that kind of weird unhealthy obsession with money or unhealthy obsession with acquiring thing can happen. Another thing, which is funny, many tier physics individuals might kind of have almost like a monk mentality. Oh no, like weird for sure. But they can be the biggest degenerates. And that's the weird, ironic, almost double standard of many tier physics. Repulsion, almost a strong repulsion to certain behaviors that, physicality, while on the down low, they engage in some degen shit too. So that can happen. This weird hypocrisy of their physics can be present. They don't want others to know, and they might feel ashamed but they engage in certain behaviors that maybe that they shame in others. They might not like in others. So that's kind of something that happens with their physics. So again, just look for the figure out if it's a very shameless placement for you. Figure out if it's process, how accepting you are. I've seen their physics people who again can come to an environment and clean up the whole space, make sure everything's great to their own liking, right? Because it's again, their physics is so self-focused too. People forget that it is so self-focused, so they might do things to their liking. They might be pedantic, they might be obsessive, right? And that's very, very easy kind of to figure out. You will not really kind of confuse them for second physics, because I think second physics is so careless, right? Second physics is so nonchalant that it doesn't care. It can help you, it can help others. It's malleable. It doesn't care if you give them advice on physics stuff. But with their physics, they can be very reactive. Their physics can be unbending sometimes when it comes to you trying to impose try to impose your way. That's the funny thing. There's insecurity. They might kind of want help, but at the end of but they also can be very reactive with it. So this is this weird duality with their physics that happens. So you can have some third physics indeed that will be very much more unbending, much more pushy. They know what they like. Some third physics might be more passive. Again, more self-conscious and then trying to perfect themselves, trying to grind. Some third physics, especially with VIS, it's a bit more unclear. I would say, a bit more unstable. So on one hand, they can neglect themselves completely, and on the other hand obsess over small details that really no one would ever obsess about. So there's weird instability in this third placement that does happen, you know and also remember, your third placement is try hard. Logic, try hard logic, obviously. You know, you see people that can be unbending with their opinions, their worldview. Try hard physics also happens, so don't get confused. You know, and this neurosis that is channeling all this obsessiveness and all this focus on this third placement should be visible. So your third placement will be visible. There will be a lot of focus on that. There will be a lot of focus on that. So just look for that. Look for the focus. Look where you tend to be more pushy, more unbending, more kind of distrustful of others, or more like more self-centered in that sense. That is something you need to pay attention to. Anyway, so pretty much, yes, that kind of concludes third physics. Like and subscribe. This is the new era. Let's go.